I've been sitting with a question lately, and it's not one I typically like asking myself. Am I being selfish? I got out of my longest relationship about 6 months ago. It was about a year and a half, almost 2 years. And recently, I started talking to someone new. I like her. I enjoy the conversations, it feels easy. But that's where the question starts because I don't know if liking someone new right now means I'm moving forward or just moving too fast. So I want to start with why I'm even asking this. I think the reason this question exists at all is because I care. If I didn't, I wouldn't be thinking about it this deeply. I wouldn't be worried about timing or impact or what this might mean for someone else. This isn't coming from wanting to use anyone, it's coming from not wanting to hurt anyone. And that already makes the answer a little less clear, honestly. The timing is super confusing for me. 6 months sounds like a long time, at least on paper, but emotionally, time doesn't move parallel. Some days I feel completely detached from my last relationship, like it's clearly behind me and I haven't given it a thought in weeks or months or anything like that. And other days I notice small things, thoughts that linger longer than I expect, feelings that haven't fully disappeared. That inconsistency makes me question whether time alone is actually a good measure of readiness. Because sometimes I feel okay and sometimes I feel guilty about feeling okay. What really trips me up is that I'm alright with what's happening. For some reason, it's giving me a weird sense of guilt. Like, enjoying someone new somehow cheapens what I had before. Like, being open again means I didn't care enough about my previous relationship. I don't know if that guilt is a loyalty thing or it was just me not knowing how to let things end and move on. My ex and I were drifting for a good amount of months before we actually broke up, so it was a bit of an easier breakup in terms of emotions. My last two relationships, I went through hell after the breakups. And this most recent one is starting to worry me a little bit because I don't feel that same passion and intensity of the breakup that the other two did. So I'm scared and I'm feeling a little bit of guilt that, maybe I have grown distant from intimacy. So it's become a little bit more difficult to sit on this and think. And it's also becoming a little bit difficult to enjoy someone new without certainty. Because I genuinely do enjoy talking to this new girl. And that's the part that complicates everything. Because I don't feel distracted. And I don't feel like I'm just filling empty space. I feel present. She just feels like an add on to what's already happening in my life. But just with the thoughts of the past breakup not being, the way I thought it would feel, I don't feel 100% finished with that weight of the past. And I keep wondering if those two are allowed to coexist. Because I've asked myself whether I'm just in a loneliness phase, you know, if I'm reaching for a connection because being alone feels unfamiliar because I've been in a relationship for so long. But this connection doesn't feel empty. It doesn't feel like avoidance. It feels intentional. She's very outgoing and she knows how to talk to me, and I feel like I know how to talk to her. And I don't think wanting the connection automatically means that I'm running from something. And I think those lines are blurrier than, we care to admit. Because I know my patterns. Part of why I hesitate is because I know myself. I've always had a habit of lingering emotionally. Feelings don't disappear from me, they go to the back of my mind and they sit there. So I worry about carrying unfinished weight into something new. Not because I want to, but because it's how I've always processed things. And I have this big fear of misleading people. Not lying to them, or not pretending, but just being unclear without meaning to. I don't want to put someone in a position where they're more certain than I am. And I don't know if that fear makes me responsible or cautious, but. And sometimes I just sit here and I think, what being selfish actually means. Because I've been trying to redefine it in this situation specifically. I don't think being selfish is liking someone too soon. I think it's pretending to be ready when you're not. So the real question isn't, am I healed? It's, am I being honest about where I'm at with her and with myself? Because I feel like there's a difference between rushing and exploring. Because I'm not making a promise, I'm not planning a future, I'm just exploring how something feels. And I think there's a difference between that. Because you're allowed to experience stuff without pretending that it's more than what it is. Curiosity doesn't automatically mean commitment. But there's, like I said before, there's always this fear of wasting someone's time. I keep coming back to this fear. but I don't know if uncertainty equals waste. I'm not misleading anyone. I'm not guaranteeing anything. I'm just being present, and that feels different than being careless. And I've never felt this type of way. So the only thing I can do right now is vent to you guys and talk to you guys, because that's just how it is. The healing process doesn't have to happen alone. There's this idea that it has to happen in isolation. Like, you're not allowed to want someone until you've completely sorted everything within yourself out. But I don't know if that's how people actually work. Some parts of healing only show up when you let others connect and you let yourself connect. Growth doesn't always have to happen alone. I talked about in a previous video that I've always struggled asking for help, and that's in relationships and in school. And I feel like this isn't something that's gonna just poof away on my own. I have to reach out. I have to do stuff. I have to explore. But there's a lot of pressure to define things nowadays so quickly, and there's a big pressure right now to know exactly what this is that I'm getting into. Like, where it's going, what it means. But maybe letting something exist without a label for now is the most honest option for me right now, especially when I'm still figuring myself out. I also think about what happens if I wait too long until I feel completely ready, because I'm not sure that moment ever comes. I don't want to freeze everything that's going on with me out of caution for moving too fast into something that I'm not sure of. But right now, currently, I'm realizing I don't need certainty. I need gentleness with her, with myself, with the situation, and with the fact that I haven't fully figured this whole thing out. I can move carefully without standing still forever. I don't have a clean answer. Maybe I am being a little selfish, and maybe I'm also just being honest. Maybe those two things overlap more than I would like to admit. But for now, I'm just trying to move carefully, not perfectly. I don't know if I'm being selfish. I just know that I'm trying to be honest with myself. And the last thing I would ever want to do is hurt her with something that has affected me for so long. I just want to be a better person for not just myself, but for the others around me, and for the people who just so happen to like me. God forbid if I ever hurt someone like I did before, emotionally. I wish I could just have the ability to be love stripped away. Like, it's a serious feeling, and yeah. I'm gonna let it sit there.